All right, we are live, and I'm super excited for this spotlight showdown. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
We just finished our session together, so we're like fresh and in the goodies of what you do, and you're Westchester's best doula.
Woo-hoo.
And so I just want, yeah, introduce yourself. You're like Jenn 3.0. We've been working together for a year. You're fucking amazing. Yeah, tell a little people about, I could do it, but I want you to do a little bragging on your, like, where we started last March.
Yeah.
Where you are right now.
So, I've been connected to you for 6 or 7 years now, and I've been like on the sidelines, watching you work with people and their businesses. I know you don't call it fuck your fears anymore, but when that was out there, I was like, I want to fuck a fear. Like, I want to do that. But, I felt like, well, I don't have a business. So, I didn't really get involved. But as soon as I was working for the New York City Assembly, and my boss, who was in office for over 30 years, announced her retirement last January. And I really had to sit down with myself, and I'm over 50. And I had to sit down with myself and really be like, what are you going to do next? Because even my last job that I had for 8 years was a total departure from my job before that, where I was an investigator, for 25 plus years. But anyway, so I just was like, what do I want to do? And then I really started thinking about like, well, this will be my third career. And so this is my Jenn 3.0, and like, what does that look like? And how do I really want to implement change in my life? Because it wasn't just like about like, what is my next career going to be? But like, everything I've learned through you and other people I've been connected with is that like, you can make your life what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be pigeonholed in these categories. Like, I really sat down and said to myself, what do I want? What's going to make me feel good? And so, because I matter, God damn it. And so, yes, I started thinking about the whole Jenn 3.0 and what is the next stage of my life going to be. And I really came to the terms with, I don't want to sit at a desk anymore. I really want to implement like movement and my health and vitality and energy into my day every day. And that didn't mean to me like going to the gym. Like, I wanted it to be part of my daily life, how I spent my day. Right. And I, after much thought, I just came up with, I want to be a doula. And as soon as I knew that I was going to do that, I contacted you because I knew as a doula, you are an entrepreneur. And then I was like, yeah, then I was like, oh, I finally get to be with Shane. Like, I don't have to just be on your Friday Coven commenting. That's what I love too. But I mean, I wanted to work with you. So that's when I contacted you.
I love it. And what the luxury you gave yourself was like, I want to work on this for a year so that I'm not, because you had a big, juicy, amazing timeline with no pressure. And so that really felt good. And so we just got off our session talking about your next potential client. This is like, you've been working on this, you've already finished working with a client. And I want to just speak to the alignment of you being really purposeful and being like, I don't want to sit every day. I want to be in movement, and your natural born caregiving, and also your experience hiring a postpartum doula in your own, parenting experience many years ago, right? It wasn't like, oh, I just did this and I think I want to do it again.
Yeah, no, it was 20 years ago when I had my son. And so at the time I was working for New York City Department of Investigation. I carried a gun. I arrested people. Like, I thought I was a tough cookie motherfucker.
Yeah,
and then I had a baby and I was a fucking mess. I thought I was such tough little shit. No. So I don't remember who it was, but someone said, oh, you should bring in a doula. And this woman came into my life and she turned it flipped it completely all around. I mean, she took all that anxiety away. She took all that, like, the breastfeeding was not going well. And she was really the perfect doula for me. Just like you said, I will attract my perfect client. She looked me right in the face and she was like, you don't have to breastfeed. And I was like, I do. And she was like, no, if it's not working, it's not working for him either. She like told me right where it's at. And I needed that. I needed someone. And so, I mean, she just made me feel like, okay, I could do this. Like, I'm gonna be okay. And yeah, I never forgot that. I never forgot how she made me feel. I wish I had her name and number, because I
I
would
know,
love.
I was just thinking that.
Oh my God, I would love to call her now and be like, 20 years, and that what you gave me never left me. And so that's really what motivates me, is that, like, I want to give other moms and dads, I want to give them what I still feel 20 years later, but I want to give that to new or repeat parents or whatever. Like, that's what motivates me and drives my wanting to do this work, is I want to give that to other parents.
I love that. I love that story actually, because it reminds me of like the deep need for the doula. It's because it
Mhm.
is something, that not everybody has, but they could really use, like, to have those 3 months of extra support and help. And so I think just maybe share about what a postpartum doula does, which is because it's different than a delivery, right? Labory? It's not even a
Yeah.
word.
No, labor.
Labor,
You're right.
labor and delivery. Labor and delivery doula, different.
Yeah. So, okay. So, scenario, parents come home from the hospital. And then I want to talk about, if you don't mind, what the difference is between a doula and a nanny and a night nurse and
Yeah.
all.
So quickly talk about this and then go right
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. So, so you come home from the hospital, everyone is like, emotions are running high. You may not be anxious or depressed, but you're still like, you're shell shocked. Like, what had just happened? I mean, it is such a, your body has just gone through something beautiful, but traumatic, and the dad too is like, what do I do? What do I do? So, a doula comes in and really helps you, support you, recover physically, because some people have some physical repercussions from birth, vaginal birth, C-section birth, either one, and emotionally, like, I like to say that, before, when we had matriarchal societies and women gave birth, their mother, their sister, their grandmother, their aunt, their whatever, like the neighbor, everyone was around them to support them. And we don't have that anymore. Like, people don't live in the same state as their families anymore. So you really need a doula to come in and offer that support and love and attention. And the other thing is, let's say you already have an older child, and sometimes it's hard balancing, like, who my, like, baby needs me, my toddler needs me, like, so I come in and I give the attention to whichever child needs it in that moment, so that you can go and be with the other child when they need it in that moment. And then the other thing is like, you're so overwhelmed with childcare, giving your attention, like, you don't have time for dishes and laundry and making dinner and all that kind of stuff. And so I look for pockets of time when there's some downtime during the day, and I help with the dishes, put in a couple loads of laundry, or I help them either make their dinner for that night, or I help them meal prep. Like, I cut everything up so that they could just throw it together. And so it just takes the anxiety level down for the whole family unit, because someone is there taking some of the responsibility off them. And it just feels like just so much more like, just so much more comfortable and not so stressed.
And before you share, I just want to say, like, because you work with busy moms who are used to doing it all, it's like, it's the kind of thing that I really, it sounds like you don't want to wait till it's like 2 weeks later. You're like, wow, what we did, because I think a lot of people have to get over someone else is going to do my dishes and someone else is going to do my laundry. Like, there is some surrendering to not being in control. so your children and the baby can get more of you instead of staying at that busy, busy pace. What I hear is like, you're like, yeah, we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to be at that high speed, because what happens then, the sink stays full, the laundry's not done, and stress creeps in like a little monster.
Yep, 100%. So you're not feeling like, oh shit, like I didn't get that and I didn't get that and, or, any of those things. So it's just somebody there. And some people might say, well, why doesn't the husband do it? You know what? The husband really should and want to like be doting on the mom and the baby and the toddler. Like, what if there is one? I really think that it's very beneficial for I should say husband, the father, the partner, the father in the situation, because then they're not getting the shit work, like they're involved in like having that time, and that time, it goes fast. It really does. And a lot of dads, like, sometimes they do get paternity leave, sometimes they don't. Usually they'll get like a week, maybe 2 off of work. Those 2 weeks should be bonding with the mom and the baby in like their new family unit, not doing the grudge work of laundry, dishes, cook it, So, I mean, I think it's so special to allow dad to not have to do all that stuff.
Right. I think this is such a strong point, is that, yeah, you could get it all done, and you could, or you can, adjust that the dishes are not done, and, and sort of but it's really nice. I'm like, oh, I want a life doula. That sounds really nice. Just have her. Okay.
I've
So
been getting so many people like, can you be my doula? Like, just come over, because they see what I do, like, can you come over and help me do all these things,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, or maybe you're pregnant, or somebody that is, like, first of all, I want to talk about your method of being is compassion in action. So that's like such a great tagline. But tell people, like, what is the difference between like a wet nurse, a doula, or just, what's the difference in a doula and all other like babies?
Yeah. Because I had both. Before I had my doula, I had a night nurse.
Okay.
A baby, what they call a baby nurse, nurse. And that is what exactly it is. Like, the baby nurse comes and they take care of the baby. They're not interested in how the mom is or the dad or, anything else. They're not doing laundry and dishes and meal prep, whatever. They are taking the baby from you so that you can get rest, and they're dealing with the needs of the baby. And not knocking that industry, but it's just not they're not leading with compassion. They're just doing something that's very black and white. And so I had a baby nurse for a week after I had my first child, and it was good. I got sleep. I got some sleep that first week that I might not have, but I didn't feel any more confident. I didn't feel any less anxious. It doesn't help you with those emotions. So it's not an emotional support position. It's just more like, you sleep, and when the baby needs to feed, I'll wake you up, or if there's a baby that's totally bottle feeding, yeah, you sleep through the night, let's say. But when that nurse leaves, there's still not that feeling of calm and support that a doula gives. It's just not the same. Yeah.
I love that. I love that description. It feels very like you're cohesive. You're like, I'm doing whatever makes the family work together better.
And that's what I tell my clients, is that, like, I am not going to come in and tell you what to do, what not to do. Like, I'll give an opinion if they ask for my advice, but I tell them all the time, like, I believe in whatever works. So, you don't want to have the baby on a schedule. Cool. You want to put it on schedule, I will help you do that. Like, I'm literally always say that, whatever works, because that's what I believe, in all stages of childhood, in my opinion. But like, whatever works, like, whatever gets you through the day, whatever makes you feel good. Like, that's what I like.
I mean, that is spoken like a true nurturer of 20 years or more, probably, because I think that is a really important life experience that can only be spoken from tried and like trying things, right? It's like everybody wants to do the right thing, but your example with breastfeeding is like, yeah, that's the euphoric, like perfect mother role. Take a picture, take a stand, shake your breasts out in public. But if the kid, I love what you said, and you said it quick, he probably doesn't like it either. Like,
Yeah.
take real note of what is actually happening with your kid and not what you really want to do and the attachments of what perfect mothering looks like.
Yeah, or what you think you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like my generation, we had What to Expect When You're Expecting, right? Like that was the book. And
Yeah.
everyone studied that book the whole time that you're pregnant. So, and also like my generation also, like there's so many expectations on moms. Like it's great. It's just ridiculous. So I am really taking it back a little old school and not making any mom feel like, like you should be doing this, your kid should be on a schedule by this amount of time. Like, no, like I just don't think that works. And to be a little bit more transparent about what you said. So that first child, turned out to be a child with special needs. And so I really had to get rid of, I was told by we went to like a group play date for kids with special needs, and the therapist that ran the group said, get rid of the word should, just get rid of it, because your child is going to do all different things at all different times than like their and so I really, they say that your children are your greatest teacher, and totally 100% my children have been. They've both had their serious challenges, and I had to learn that like there's not only one way to do things, there's many, many different ways. And as hard as it is in the moment, you still can come out having a great child. Everyone takes their different route to get there.
I love it. Your wise woman is so wise. And it's really, you're perfect at what you do. Like it really, you just like walked right into it with so much experience to begin with that it's like, okay, cool. Now you have a title, but it's like you've been doing it your whole life, probably
Mhm.
more than just being a mother, but
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. Yeah.
yeah. Great. Okay. So if anybody's watching that, has or knows somebody, Jenn would love to have a conversation and see if it's a good fit. And they're in Westchester. But Jenn's going to be doing some trainings, and I don't know, there's more to come because you have
For
so much.
sure. Like I actually I'm interested in doing labor doula work as well.
Oh, I
So,
meant like to give trainings, but yes, of course you could do.
oh yes. But yes, I am going to be expanding my horizons this year, and do some labor doula training as well.
Great. It's great. It's great to also know what they've just experienced
Mhm.
as a refresher, right? You've been in
Right.
it yourself, but to be in I've never been in a, have I been? No, I've not been in a delivery room at the moment, like maybe 10
Right.
seconds before I was there, my friend gave birth. Which was so wild. Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild ride. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so that's a great, yeah, we love learning. And that's what this, society is about. Everyone here, we just want to keep learning. So if anybody's watching that wants to be in touch with you because they need a postpartum doula, or they know somebody who does, how should people get in touch with you?
Well, it's easy to message me on Facebook.
Yeah.
My official, I mean official, but my whole name, individual name on Facebook is Jennifer Fields Tawil, no hyphen. Tawil is Tawil. Or I do have a business page, Jennifer Tawil Westchester Doula, on Facebook and Instagram. You can send me a private message in any of those three
Okay,
profiles.
great. I'll put up a link. Yeah, great. Well, it's been such a fun spotlight, really efficient. Really, you got everybody. I got excited and really, yeah, cohesive stuff that you're talking about. Like I get a clear picture of what you're doing. Yeah, maybe just want to share a couple of moments. I know that you work with a lot of moms that already have one kid. And so, yeah, maybe just some joy, just sprinkle some joy here. What do you like to do? Or what's a favorite moment with one of the little kids that you've
Yeah, I mean, my little girl loves to play. And I just have been enjoying so much working with the siblings of the newborn, right? So I've posted a lot about it. Last week I got to read Where the Wild Things Are, which was like definitely one of my favorite books ever. Um, I got to play Shoots and Ladders, so I mean, like, I'm going back and touching on like so many special memories of my childhood, of my kids' childhood. So I do, I love to play. So I love being able to do that. Um, that's one of my, if I want to say, my favorite frames of a day,
Yeah.
is playing with the older kids too.
Amazing. And I
Yeah.
just, yeah, it feels really fun to listen to you talk about this. It's like, so I just want to say to everyone who doesn't know what they're doing in life, or they're like, what's my 3.0 or what's my 2.0? It's really that anything is possible. It doesn't have to be like similar to what you're doing now. It can be totally different from what you get paid for, but it can be really what you're good at, naturally good at, or what you got in trouble for as a kid. Like, that'll come up. I'll share more about that another time. But just to
Yeah.
really watch you like glow about what you're doing, is such a gift to everybody. So if you have any comments or questions or just want to engage with Jen on this, I think she'd appreciate it and I would. And so, yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for jumping in on the spotlight. Anything else you want to share before we close?
Uh, I just want to thank you for guiding me this whole time, before and during that we've been working together. Um, I think, everything that you have spoken about over the years, like, has given me the confidence of, like, yes, I can make my life to look the way I want it to look and feel the way I want it to feel. So I just want to say I love you and thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm so freaking happy, like, that I'm, like, that I am, like, I'm doing it. My daughter, who's 16, I think I've told you this, but she said to me, she's like, Mom, I'm so proud of you because you set a goal for yourself and you're doing it. Like, I mean, I mean, what more can I say than, to be set an example for my daughter? I don't want to get verklempt, but like, it's true. Like, that makes me feel so good, that I can be that positive example for her. Um, and for anyone else, that sees what I'm doing, because just like I looked at a lot of the other people that you and I know mutually, and I was standing out on the other side feeling like, oh, like, they feel so good and they're so aligned in their work. And I want that, and like, now I have it.
Hmm.
So, not that I did not like my job before, but it was a 9 to 5 sitting at a desk all day. Like,
Yeah.
um, like, I mean, whatever, it served me well when I had it, but now it's just like, I'm really, I chose this,
Yeah.
um, for me and no one else. And I
And
just,
everyone got on board. Like,
yes,
like people were nervous in your life and your family, and they were like, what are you doing? And that's, oh my God, we could talk, I'm going to talk about that this week a lot, but it's this idea that if you're doing something that's a little off the beaten path or like what everyone knows you to be doing, it upsets people. It makes people nervous. And they ended up all getting on board and being so supportive. But yeah,
yeah,
anything you want to share
100%.
about
I
that?
mean, I want to keep this all light and positive, so
Yeah.
I'm not
Yes.
talking about my mother, but some people, this is a departure from the norm,
Yeah.
and some people, they don't really understand it. But I think when they see that I'm doing it and I'm getting clients and I'm, successful at it, like, right out the gate, literally right out the gate,
Yes.
then they're like, oh, like, yeah, this is a possibility, this is possible.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. And it's a testament to your like focus, your North Star. And like, it's not easy to say, I'm going to keep going when people who love you are like, I don't know. But that's why having
Yeah,
support is so important, because it
yeah,
is easy to get talked out of things. It's not like
yeah.
unusual. So many
You
people
know,
do it all the time.
yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like this is not my first time taking a little departure of what people expect. When I announced I was going to be an investigator, and I'm a little Jewish girl, I'm 5 feet tall, they were like, what? you know but I, again, like I had a whole 25+ year career, um and that was great. That was great too. So there is a part of me that's just like, I'm gonna do what I want,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you know I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Well, we are exactly on the minute of 2:30. And so thank you everybody for watching. If you watch on the replay, just click replay. We love to know that kind of stuff. And thanks, Jen. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.